Hey music community, I am back to do my Byrds ranking list. Now, I know this is taking me a while. These ranking lists are really difficult to do. They are fun, but they take some time and some thought. So what I decided to do with this ranking list is to rank my top favorite or top 15 Byrds songs first. So I'm gonna get that out of the way, and then I'm gonna show you my top 5 Byrds albums, my favorite Byrds albums. Again, as with any ranking list I do, it's my personal opinion. You probably aren't going to agree with what I say, and that's fine. Feel free to leave your personal comments, your personal lists in the comments below, and that'll be awesome for me to see. Again, this is to just generate discussion. I do these for fun and to kind of just get my mind rolling on what I like about my favorite bands, my favorite albums. And the Byrds made my top 10 favorite bands of all time list. So I'm gonna start with my top 15 favorite songs. I'm gonna get a sip of water here. Cheers. I'm so bad, I'm obsessed with sparkling water. I have a hard time drinking regular water, so it's become kind of an expensive habit buying the sparkling water. So we're gonna start with my top 15 favorite Byrds songs. So, first of all, honorable mentions. First honorable mention would be This Wheel's on Fire off of the Dr. Byrds and Mr. Hyde album. Chris Kibler gave me this, thank you again. Yeah, that song kind of just gives me goosebumps and chills, just how well done it's recorded, and the guitars are amazing. It's also a Bob Dylan cover, so I love that song. Another honorable mention would be a Chris Hillman song called Thoughts and Words off of Younger Than Yesterday. I don't have this on vinyl, so I'll be showing this CD throughout. Okay, on to my top 15 favorite Byrds songs. Number 15 would be What's Happening, and that is actually on Fifth Dimension right here. And I believe it's a David Crosby song, but I just like it because of the soaring guitar bit. I like the tempo of it. It's kind of a chill psych song, so that would be my number 15. Number 14 is Why, and that is off Younger Than Yesterday, the last song. It's like one of their early songs, but I don't think it showed up until this album, and I believe it was written by McGuinn and Crosby. It's kind of one of those influential songs, like for the psych genre. So that would be my number 14. My Back Pages is actually my favorite Bob Dylan cover that the Byrds did, and it is off of Younger Than Yesterday. Yeah, it's just a song about Bob Dylan's disenchantment with the whole protest movement. He kind of wanted to move beyond that. And I think on the single version of the Byrds version, they kind of eliminated the second verse just to save time, to make it shorter, but I believe the full version is on this one. So, yep, number 13 would be My Back Pages. Number 12 is I See You, and that's again off of Fifth Dimension here. Just another one of those fun, psych songs that they did. Number 11 is I'll Feel a Whole Lot Better. So many bands have covered this, you guys. I think Dinosaur Jr. covered it, the Barracudas covered it. Tom Petty is probably the most well-known version that you've heard, but yeah, it's just a classic Gene Clark song. One of my favorite songs that he wrote. Number 10 would be Draft Morning. Okay, this one was off of Notorious Bird Brothers, right here. It's a beautiful song. It's kind of controversial because David Crosby wrote it, he played it for the rest of the band, but then David Crosby was fired and McGuinn and Hillman kind of finished taking over the song. They changed it up a bit and Crosby didn't really approve of it, but it is one of my favorite songs off of there. So Draft Morning, number 10. Number 9 is Chestnut Mare. Crap, I didn't get this out, but it is off of, this is off of their Untitled album from, is it 1969 or 1970? I don't know, but it's one of their later albums. It's the first studio track song on this album. It's just beautiful. You get themes of nature and freedom, which are pretty common in Byrds songs. So I just love the melody of it. I love the harmonies. It's a strong track. So Chestnut Mare is number 9 for me. Number 8 is Set You Free This Time, another one of my favorite Gene Clark songs. I am just obsessed with Gene Clark's songwriting. Yeah, it's just about the breakup of a relationship. There's a great harmonica bit in this song. It actually kind of has a country-ish feel to it. So that would be my number 8 favorite song. Number 7 is Renaissance Fair. Wow, what a song. It is off of, yeah, it's off of the Younger Than Yesterday album right here. It's kind of like, just reminds me of that whole hippie generation. It's just got that classic guitar interplay between David Crosby and Roger McGuinn. Yeah, I just love that song. So that would be my number 7, Renaissance Fair. Number 6, Dolphin Smile. Yeah, when I first heard this song, it's off Notorious Byrd Brothers, it blew me away. Just, it's kind of unlike anything you've ever heard before. It's a song where the title absolutely fits the music. But, I think Roger McGuinn said like the opening part, he's just tapping his fingernails on the neck of the Rickenbacker. So yeah, it's an awesome song for sure. Number 5 is Wild Mountain Thyme from Fifth Dimension. Once again, it's a song with strings, and it's kind of like a song where they've never used strings in that way, or it might be the first song in which they've used strings. I don't remember what I exactly read about that, but it's just a gorgeous song, like paired with the harmonies. It's amazing. So Wild Mountain Thyme is number 5. Number 4 is 8 Miles High off the same album. You guys, who doesn't like 8 Miles High? Such an influential psych song, like with the crazy guitar from Roger McGuinn. It's a highlight of this album for sure. And you know, it was kind of controversial with the word high in the song, but it's a standout track in the Byrds catalog. So 8 Miles High, number 4. My number 3 choice is If You're Gone. Another brilliant Gene Clark song. It's a unique song, and it's got kind of like this Gregorian chant throughout it. It's like an eerie song. It's one of those songs that also displays Gene Clark's vulnerability in his lyrics. I just think it's a beautiful song. So that would be my number 3. Number 2, another Gene Clark classic, Here Without You, off of Mr. Tambourine Man. Yeah, many artists and bands have covered this. In fact, let's see, do I have the CD up here? I can show, yes. One of my favorite covers is actually on this Chris Stamey and Peter Holsapple album. They just do an amazing cover of Here Without You, and I love the lyrics to the song. It's another song about a relationship that's ended, and Gene Clark is singing about all the things that remind him of that relationship. So it's got a strong melody, strong lyrics. It's big thumbs up in my book. Number 1, finally number 1 favorite song is It Won't Be Wrong. You guys, hearing this song, and it's off of this album, I think it's what made me turn into a Byrds fan for life. I knew after hearing that song, I was like, I love this band. I want to hear everything they've done. Just the guitar part in it's incredible. I don't know how to describe it. It's a really short song, but it really left an impact on me. So yeah, you just have to hear it for yourself. It also has like this weird tempo change in it. Yeah, that's just my favorite Byrds song of all time. Just kind of exemplifies the Byrds sound, in my opinion, with the guitars and the harmonies. So yeah. All right, that's my top 15 favorite Byrds songs, and now we're gonna go to my top 5 favorite Byrds albums ranked. Now, I'm gonna let you guys know that I did not include Sweetheart of the Rodeo. I've been listening to the Byrds for a while, but I still can't quite get 100% in on this album. It's not, you know, I'm not really a big country fan, and to me, I think Tommy Burton in his review of this album, he also said it's like straight up country, and it is. I'm not saying I don't appreciate it. I appreciate it for what it was. I appreciate what they did for other bands, like encouraging them to get into country. It kind of set the stage for other bands to play and start playing country rock. So I have a lot of respect for it. It's just not one of my top 5 albums at all. I don't listen to it that often. It's an album where, you know, Graham Parsons joined the group and he had some amazing contributions like Hickory Wind, but it just didn't make my top 5 list. So sorry for those of you who are disappointed, but I'm more into their first 5 albums, so that's what I'm including in my top 5 list. Number 5, my number 5 favorite album is Mr. Tambourine Man, and it's actually their debut album, and it's a very strong debut album. I think it came out in 1965. Yeah, and it's just a refreshing album. It introduces you to that classic 12-string guitar sound from Roger McGuinn, Gene Clark's songwriting. It's, yeah, what a debut. You've got Mr. Tambourine Man on here, I'll Feel a Whole Lot Better, Here Without You. You've got a Bob Dylan cover, All I Really Want to Do. Yeah, it's a strong album. It made my number 5. So that's my number 5. Number 4 is Fifth Dimension, which I'm kind of surprised after I was listening to all of these again. I'm kind of surprised it made my number 4, but I kind of realized that I only think half of the album is truly strong, so that's why it's my number 4. Favorite songs on here: Fifth Dimension, Wild Mountain Time, Mr. Spaceman, I See You, What's Happening. So basically the first like 5 songs, and also 8 Miles High. I don't like their cover of Hey Joe. I think it's kind of weak. So yeah, I think about half of the album is really strong and the rest is just kind of filler. That's just my opinion. However, it's kind of considered as the first Psych album, so it's a really groundbreaking album right here. And it is their 3rd album. So Fifth Dimension makes my number 4. Number 3 would be Turn, Turn, Turn. This album kind of gets bashed or overlooked a little bit. I think it's a pretty strong effort though. Gene Clark is still on this album, so that's why I like it. Of course, my favorite song, It Won't Be Wrong, is on here. You've also got Turn, Turn, Turn. Everyone knows that song. Set You Free This Time. He Was a Friend of Mine. The World Turns All Around Her. If You're Gone. I like their cover of Oh Susanna, actually. I might be one of the only people who likes it, but yeah, I love this album. Turn, Turn, Turn. Number 2, again, some of these might be like interchangeable, kind of like with my other ranking list, especially with Who, where I have the top 5 albums. One week, you know, my number 4 album from that might be my number 1. You get the idea. So number 2, Notorious Byrd Brothers. Yes, what an exceptionally recorded, gorgeous album here from them. It is their 5th album that they recorded. Yeah, this is one album that I got at the Des Moines Record Show kind of for free. Like, they kind of threw it in because I bought some other albums. I was like, are you kidding me? And this plays great. So, yeah, Columbia label right there. Yeah, they had some issues recording this album. Like, David Crosby was fired from the band. And Gene Clark came back for a few weeks, but then he left again. I think Michael Clark ended up leaving the band. So there was a lot of like tension and turmoil within the band during these recording sessions. But wow, what a phenomenal album that came from that. And yeah, it's just an experimental album. It's got a lot of genres on here. You've got psych, you've got folk, you've got baroque, you have horns on here. Some jazz even. And it's kind of one of the first albums to use a Moog synthesizer, so that's really cool. Of course, 2 of my favorite songs are on here, Dolphin Smile and Draft Morning, but you gotta listen to this the whole way through. It's absolutely brilliant. So that makes my number 2. And number 1 is Younger Than Yesterday, which I just have on CD. It's their 4th album in their catalog. Yeah, it's another album where it's kind of, they're experimenting with different styles like reverse tape effects, country, but it's an album where Chris Hillman's actually stepping up and writing some songs and also singing some songs. I especially like his song Thoughts and Words, which I mentioned before. I chose this as my number 1 because I don't skip over any tracks on this album. It's that good. That's why I chose it for my number 1, is like there's no filler. Like, in my opinion, there's no filler on this album. You got So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star, Renaissance Fair, My Back Pages, Why, but every song is a winner on here. Yeah, I just love the Byrds. They're, in my opinion, they're one of the most influential bands of all time. Let's see what bands are influenced by them. REM is a big one. Actually, any band from the Paisley Underground movement of the 80s, they're heavily influenced by the Byrds, especially like the 12-string guitars. Fleet Foxes were influenced by them, Big Star, Matthew Sweet, a lot of power pop bands, Teenage Fan Club. So, you know, if you like those bands, you really have to go back and listen to the Byrds to truly appreciate where that sound came from. I also want to mention, like, I think one of the most well done compilations ever for the Byrds is this. I've had this forever. It only has 10 songs on it. Here's the track listing. But you'll notice that a lot of these songs showed up on my top 15 list just because I love these songs. It was a great place to start. If you ever find this used or anything, pick it up because, yeah, these songs, like, a lot totally made my list. So this was a big part of my, I guess, late high school and college years when I was really getting into the Byrds. So excellent comp there, excellent. So yeah, you guys, if you have any questions or if I got some tidbits or facts wrong, please let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'm not an expert on the Byrds. I just really love their music. And yeah, they were super influential. So that's all I got for that list. I'm in the midst of like a huge shoegaze phase, you guys. So because of that, I'm going to be planning a shoegaze video. Yeah, I'm actually like preparing for that now. So stay tuned for that. I'm super excited. Who likes shoegaze here? Does anyone like shoegaze? I think only maybe a handful of my viewers like it, but maybe I'll introduce you to something new to check out if you want, if you haven't heard of shoegaze. So yeah, and I also eventually want to do Janis Joplin, like maybe song ranking, album ranking list as well. I have fun doing these, you guys. Thank you for watching, and yeah, stay tuned. I will be checking back in with you guys soon.